Hello.
Hey, come here.
What's going on?
I come from family coppers.
My age and my gender doesn't have anything to do with this.
Well,
Same age. We're the same age. I have
Right.
about 15 years of experience.
Okay.
On the 1st of March, 2025, just after 1 in the morning, officers responded to a 911 call from a residential address. On the open line, dispatchers heard screaming and the words, "Call 911 help, he's hurting me." That single statement became the legal foundation for everything that followed. This is an analysis of what the law required and what it produced.
Hey, come here.
What's going on?
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do what?
You want to search me? I'm not.
I'm going to search. I'm just asking you. Hello.
Hey, come here.
What's going on?
I come from family coppers. You guys are too young. Get an older copper here.
Excuse me?
You know what I'm saying.
You don't know how old I am.
Well,
Why?
there he is. There he is. There's the guy.
Okay.
We need a guy. We need a guy that's older.
Excuse me?
Understand.
I'm talking to you. What happened
And
today?
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
My age and my gender doesn't have anything to do with this.
You're doing your job.
What can I... What?
I come from family coppers. I get it.
What's your name?
But let me
What's
talk
your name?
to him. Wait. I come from family coppers. Okay. Way back. Like my
Can you just
dad's
explain,
uncle was
Can
a
you just
cop.
explain what happened? Why you called
Let
my
me
name?
talk to the guy that right here is old. I need a guy that has a
We're the
little
same
experience.
age. We're the same age. I have
Right.
about 15 years of experience.
Okay.
What can I do for
Cool.
you?
How about calm down
Yeah.
first? This is not one of these things where like this is going to go the wrong fucking way. It's
So
not.
what happened? Start from the beginning.
Okay.
I don't know.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do what?
You know what you're doing.
See.
We need some light here. Don't shine a light in my eyes and turn off the
I'm
light.
not shining it on you.
Well, actually, you really? Really?
So what happened?
Really?
What happened?
No, don't do this. Let me talk. Do you fucking do you not have like a shift, like sergeant or somebody I can talk to?
I have the most experience in this house right now. So
Right.
What,
Which is
what happened?
a little concerning to
I've
me
been on for
right
15 years, sir.
I'm not saying you guys aren't doing your jobs, and I respect you, and I am 100% in your favor.
You know how many years 15 years is?
You know how many years, like,
Just talk to me.
you know how many years, like, 36 years?
There's nobody on
Her
here that has
grandfather,
36 years on.
she's got 2 uncles.
Okay.
Her cousin is a sergeant. You know what I mean? We come from family
Did
coppers.
you get hurt today?
No.
Were you fighting with someone?
No.
Who was fighting?
No one was fighting.
What
There's
was the
literally
screaming?
no fight.
What was the screaming about?
There's no fight.
The subject immediately demanded a more experienced or older officer. That demand has no legal basis. Under United States law, any sworn officer holds full investigative authority, regardless of age, gender, or years of service. A subject does not possess a constitutional right to select the officer who interviews them. The investigation belongs to the officer present. The subject's repeated references to family members in law enforcement, a grandfather, 2 uncles, and a cousin who was a sergeant, confer no legal immunity, no procedural privilege, and no right to delay or redirect a lawful investigation. Law enforcement lineage is not a legal defense. It is not a recognized exception to any statute or constitutional provision. The probable cause threshold for domestic battery rests on the totality of circumstances standard established in Illinois versus Gates in 1983. Under that standard, courts examine the complete picture: the 911 call, the victim's direct statement, and officers' on-scene observations. The daughter's words, "he's hurting me," captured on an emergency line, carry significant evidentiary weight in that analysis. No single element must carry the case alone. Combined, they satisfy the probable cause standard required for a warrantless arrest. The subject's post hoc denial that any fight occurred does not retroactively eliminate the evidence dispatchers recorded on that call. Regarding the entry into the residence, a 911 call describing ongoing violence establishes exigent circumstances under Payton v. New York, 1980. Exigency removes the warrant requirement. Officers responding to an active domestic disturbance need neither a warrant nor consent to enter.
Why are we here? We got called. Every single car is here because you guys were screaming on the phone.
And
so
you're
what
asking,
happened?
you guys? I wasn't screaming on the phone. He looks a little young too. Anybody that's like a little.
Sir, I'm 40 years old and I have 15 years. Do you want to talk to me or not?
Do you want to talk about cops? Can you sit down? You know what I mean?
I was taking the report, so you can either talk to me and explain what's going on.
I'm not gonna give you a report. I'll give you a report. What I'm saying is, you need to dig into the guys. You know, you need to dig into the guys that have been around the block a few more times than you have. Not because you don't know, because they're older. That's why.
Do you want to tell me what's going on here tonight, why you're here, or no?
Or do you want to tell me why you're asking me these questions?
Because I'm a police officer. I was called here because someone called 911. I'm here to investigate. I'm giving you an opportunity to tell me your side of the story. If you would like to not give me your side of the story, then that's fine. We can go through this, and I'll figure everything out without talking to you.
Are we going to have a conversation?
I'd love to.
So who called 911? What did they tell you?
Your daughter did, and all we heard on the line was screaming and call 911, help, he's hurting me.
Right, who screamed?
Your daughter.
Right.
Okay, so what's the issue? I'm not sure what your point is here. So you got here, you started knocking on the front door. What happened after that?
You need a guy who's got a little more.
Okay, there is nobody else. So would you like to explain to me or no?
Her grandfather's a copper. Two of her dead uncles were coppers their whole lives. He was a copper, and she's got a cousin that's a fucking sergeant. Okay. You know what? How about you know, we like get a guy here and turn the fucking, like, you know, temperature down a little bit.
What temperature?
Well, no, I haven't been talking.
Listen, I respect you, and you know how much I love you.
I don't care whether you respect me or not.
Right.
Just, if you would like to tell me your side of the story, here's your opportunity. If you'd like to forego that, then we're done.
Nope.
Fantastic. All right, just stay seated right there, all right? Don't move.
I'm not moving.
At approximately 7 minutes and 31 seconds into the footage, the subject produced one of the cleaner Fifth Amendment invocations in recent Bodycam analysis. I choose to invoke my right to remain silent against self-incrimination. That sentence is legally precise and constitutionally effective. Under Berghuis versus Thompkins, decided in 2010, an invocation must be clear and unambiguous to trigger the protection of Miranda. This statement meets that standard. Once properly invoked, officers are constitutionally prohibited from further custodial questioning on that subject. The arresting officer complied. No further questioning was pursued. That compliance is legally required, and it was correctly executed here. Note, however, that before the invocation, an officer in custody status asked the subject how he arrived at the location. Under Berghuis versus McCarty, 1984, once a person is under arrest, any interrogation is custodial, and Miranda protections apply. The subject's invocation cut off that line of questioning, but the question itself, posed post-arrest, carries constitutional risk. The search conducted immediately following arrest is authorized under Chimel versus California, decided in 1969. Officers may search the arrestee's person and the area within immediate control to prevent evidence, destruction, and to protect officer safety. The retrieval of the daughter's cell phone from the subject's possession falls squarely within that doctrine. No Fourth Amendment violation occurred.
He's being a pain in the ass.
I know. He wants to me too. Yeah. Be ready to fight.
You think I'm not going to talk to you?
Hey, let me get by. We'll get 95. All right, sir, go ahead and stand up for me. I'll place you under arrest at this time. Okay, go ahead and place your arms behind your back. Thank you.
He has my cell phone. Can you guys try to get it?
He has your cell phone still?
I think so.
Okay.
You want me to uncuff so I can give her a cell phone? Or give it to you?
We'll grab it.
I will give it to you.
We'll grab it.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah, we'll grab it.
Okay, fair.
Do you have any guns or anything on you?
No.
Okay.
No weapons. No weapons. No weapons. You want to check me? I'm clean. You know, you don't have to cuff me.
Well, we do.
We do have to.
I hear because
You're under arrest.
your superiors have told you have to. If they were here, they wouldn't happen.
We have several superiors here.
You know what I'm saying? You know, there he is. There's the guy. There's the guy.
All right, these are double locks. They're not going to lock up anymore on you. Do you have anything illegal on you?
No.
Nothing?
You want to search me? I'm not.
I'm going to
He's
search you. I'm
going
just
to.
asking you. I'm just giving you the
I'm not going to
opportunity say.
resist.
Well, I appreciate that.
You know, you want to search me? I'm legal.
Very good.
You know.
What are you looking for?
Do you have her cell phone? in your
Oh, that
pocket?
was what he was.
I may.
Yeah, take a photo.
I'm not going to resist. Do you want me to find it? I'll find it or you find it. I'm not resisting. You know.
I appreciate that.
Let me ask her if that's her.
I have my cell phone.
Is this your cell phone or is, no? It's probably not because it's got.
That's probably hers.
Just sitting that down there temporarily. Did you drive here?
How did you get here?
At this point, now that I'm in custody, should I speak?
You're in custody for a battery. We're asking you how you got here.
I'm just asking.
For
You got
what?
car keys right here, so I'm just asking.
For
is your
what?
car on the street?
All right.
Well, I'm asking you because I do have the right to ask, and you know that you have the right to tell me.
So currently you're under arrest for domestic battery.
Not resisting.
I appreciate that.
But if I'm under arrest,
You're under arrest.
then I choose to invoke my right
Okay.
against self-incrimination.
The female officer receives a grade of B+. She maintained investigative authority under sustained social pressure, correctly identified deflection tactics, and made a sound decision to transfer the encounter. The minor reduction reflects an extended interview window given that the 911 call had already established probable cause before the subject spoke a single word on scene. The arresting officer receives a grade of A-. His arrest execution was technically clean, double-locked restraints, verbal confirmation, and immediate compliance with the Fifth Amendment invocation. The minor reduction reflects the pre-Miranda question posed after the arrest decision had been made, a procedural gap that should be closed before custodial questioning begins. The subject receives a grade of C+. His Fifth Amendment invocation was textbook precise, unambiguous, and legally effective under Berghuis versus Thompkins. Physical compliance at the point of arrest also prevented a controlled situation from escalating into a use of force incident, a decision with real legal consequence. However, the pre-arrest window was spent on legally irrelevant confrontation. Whatever exculpatory account existed, it was never offered.
You're gonna grab it. I should have it.
You know, and not in a bad way.
My boyfriend, please just come here. Papa tried to do that in my house. He just got arrested. I have her just leave. Yes, they just took him for battery, and I don't know what else. Okay. I'm scared, Mom. I'm sorry.
Was this in his pocket?
I'm not resisting.
Sounds good. I appreciate that.
What's in the plastic bag?
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you.
Everybody.
That was everything.
I'm gonna walk him out. Yep. I'm gonna just grab the rest of this property.
Yep.
And awesome.
Everybody else, I heard what he said. Yeah, no, I know. It's gonna go.
You want to put him in somebody else's car? That way they can take him and you can come back.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
You got to talk to him. Right?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Just get him out to your car and all that.
Got me fixed to feet out.
Yeah, no. I'm taking the PD. We're just gonna bring his property out real quick and then.
That's my car. You got it? Well, you know what I mean. You're good. You're good.
So I'm going to go on this. Not the
Okay. All right.
2-3. I don't know if anyone buys. I have 1995.
I got you. Right here. Can you tell me what to do? And I'll just make a little.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Oh, I got you. Okay. I got you. Okay. Appreciate the information. Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw his property in your place here. That's okay.
The lesson here is straightforward. A 911 call with a victim statement substantially shifts the probable cause balance before officers arrive. By the time officers are at your door following that kind of call, the legal threshold may already be met. Talking past the investigation does not reset it. The Fifth Amendment exists precisely for moments like this. Invoking it early, not after 5 minutes of confrontation, is the smarter legal posture. And for officers, Miranda timing is not a formality. It is a constitutional obligation that attaches the moment custody begins, not after questions are already asked. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic that you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content on police court interactions.